Hi everyone, welcome back to Plum Mashable. So for today's video, I'm going to be making a movie themed shaker dashboard using the Planner's Anonymous Showtime kit. So let's go ahead and get to it. Alright, so I know what I want to make. I'm not quite sure why I want to make it, if that makes sense. So I want to make a shaker. I think I'll put it on a piece of cardboard and have it like as a dashboard. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I know I've done dashboards a lot lately, or inserts lately, but they just keep coming to me. I think this is how I'm going to do it. So I'm going to start off with the bit of popcorn cardstock, paper, whatever you want to call it, and I'm just grabbing out of my regular planner, just grabbing a piece of paper or an insert so I can just measure how big this needs to be. I'm pretty sure I know how big it needs to be, but we'll do it right. I'm just marking that out and just use our trimmer to cut that down. Making sure it's straight. Love this popcorn background, it's so cute. The stripes are amazing. And what this will do then is allow us to, because it's got the yellow on the background, whether I can write notes on the background or put something else there. For now we're just going to work on the front part. I'm also going to put my holes in. This is a personal thing. You can either put your holes in at the start or at the end. I'm actually going to just trim that just a little bit more. It just needs a sliver. I don't mind my dashboards being a little bit bigger than my inserts, but I don't like them being too much bigger. There we go, that's better. So I'm going to just punch my holes in now. Like I said, this is a personal preference. I find I can line up wherever, like all the elements on my dashboard sit easier when I've got the holes pre-done. It's just a personal thing. Just grabbing my hole punch, and I'll just punch those out. So once I've got that done, I've got my base. Now we can start working on the shaker part. So I'm grabbing out of the die cuts. Open the bag. Grabbing the curtains. It's almost going to look a little bit like my weekly decoration, but not. So no, that's not the curtains. Curtains. I'm also grabbing the little helmet bits, because I may use those as well. And also the seats. I don't think I'll use the seats, the die cuts. I think I'll use the other seats, like a set of stickers that are the seats, because I want the shadow of the people on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work out how big I want my shaker to be, and then I'm going to stick the curtains on the shaker, and they'll sort of hide the sticky elements, so they'll be sort of my frame. And then on the inside I'm going to put the little die cuts of popcorn, so when you shake it, the popcorn's going to pop, or look like it's popping. That's sort of where I'm going here. So I do want to use the acetate from the kit, just because I think it's cool, and I like it's not enough to hide the popcorn popping, so it's not going to look too busy. It's not going to hide the cool effect of the popcorn. So I'm just working out how wide I need this to be. I think I want it about there. So I'm grabbing my whiteboard marker, put the acetate down, curtains. So I need it to be about here, and I'll just cut it to the bottom and I'll trim it up afterwards. So hold on. I want to use the edges, I don't want to waste any. So if I put that right up against the edge, it needs to go to about there. So that's our acetate piece. Like I said, we can trim this down a little bit if it's too big. I think it will be just a little bit big, but that's okay. I can trim it afterwards. So I'm going to make it so that my curtains sit just on the edge of this. Now the cool thing, if you missed my, I'm going to just put a piece of white paper behind me so you guys can see what I'm doing. I know the black background sometimes when I'm using acetate makes it hard to see, so that solves the problem. If you missed the decoration I did, the weekly decoration I did, you missed the part where I discovered that the die cuts now have sticky on the back, so they are now stickers, which I think is really, really awesome. So we're going to take advantage of that to stick these down onto our acetate. Like I said, I'm just lining these up. Before I do it, I'll cut off the top afterwards, but I'm just making sure that this is going to be where I want it. Yep. So I'm having the curtain sit down just a little bit, and that's okay because we're going to have something on the bottom to hide the bottom of the acetate. I'm just making sure this is where sometimes it is easier to use my map because I can see where the line is. And then we can put the pelmets on top from there. So you could just use one. It would be fine to just use one. I just feel like using the two would be cooler. I just want to see where they sit. It just gives it more of a full look. Although I think it actually maybe not. No, I am going to use them both. I'm going to trim off the top first. So I'm just going to use scissors for that. And I'm just trimming off right at the top of the die cut. It doesn't need to be perfect because it's going to be hidden anyway. So I'm just going to stick these down same way we did the curtains, and I'm just putting that right up against the corner and then keeping it right on the top of the acetate. And if I miss a little bit like I just did, I'll just trim off the excess. I'm a little worried when it comes to the popcorn that it won't quite pop the way I want it to. Now this is just it's just sitting up a little bit because there's two of the die cuts there. I'm just going to trim off the excess just so it sits down, and that way it won't have a little bump behind this other bit. And then I just need to make this as much in the middle as I can. That's pretty good. Alright, so that's the sort of frame for our shaker card. Obviously I need to put a bottom on it, and that's the part that I'm still struggling with a little bit, because the obvious thing is to do what I did with my weekly decoration and use the seats on the bottom, but the seats actually are a little bit wide, so depending where on my card I put this, they just sort of sit a little bit too wide on the end. So I'm just going to grab the stickers. These are the standard stickers. I just want to see these people in their seats. I have a feeling these ones are going to be too small. Yeah, they are. Alright. So I don't mind that they're a little bit too big, but they're just a lot too big. And the only way you can then get around it is if it sits up a bit higher. So if it sits there, actually that doesn't look too bad. It doesn't look too bad. Alright, let's go with that then. I'm going to put that on last. That's going to be hidden. It'll hide the foam tape at the end, but I'll do it at the very end. Alright, so then we need to come in with some foam tape because this is going to make our little well. The biggest thing we need to do is make sure that we don't get any where you're going to be able to see. And I'm actually going to put a little bit more in here, so, and you need to make sure there's nothing where it can escape. I may put something other than the popcorn in here, I haven't decided yet, but just need to make sure that the well is solid. So there's no gap in between your foam tape. So just go ahead and stick this bit down, make the little well, whoops, too much tape. So you see it's going to sit up like that. And then we'll put the foam on the bottom, and like I said, we'll cover this up with the seats afterwards. So for that reason, I'm putting it as close to the bottom here as I can. Oh, that's like the first time ever I've cut the exact right amount of foam tape. All right, so there's our little shaker well. And then we'll grab the popcorn out and we can give this a bit of a test. So the hardest thing with the popcorn is that it's all the little bits at the bottom. So let's... I just want to make sure I get all the bits. So I'm just having a look through here first, making sure I haven't got any stuck. I think there were 5 bits of popcorn. If you did want to add more popcorn, I have a feeling the stamp set had a little popcorn kernel. I'll have a look in a sec. Where's the stamps? Doesn't have a popcorn kernel. It has the whole thing of popcorn. The whole, you know what I mean. Bucket. That's okay. Alright, so I'm going to put that there. Put the little popcorn pieces in here. Yeah, just be careful not to take the sticky back off, because we don't want the sticky back off. And then when we shake this, like then there's nothing stuck down, so you'll sort of, you won't get the right effect. But when we shake it, you'll get the popcorn moving. I'm just deciding if I want to put something else in there with the popcorn, so like a sequin or a little silver ball or something. It would have to be gold. Hold on, let me just check my sequin drawer. I've got some little gold stars here. I think I got this from a cheap shop. It definitely wasn't anywhere fancy. I'm just considering putting some stars in here just as an extra. I don't know. This is the hardest part, because you can't really see what the shaker looks like before you stick everything down. You just have to trust it, and that's the part that sometimes scares me. Because these are just stars from a cheap shop, I'm just going through it and just making sure there's not too many that are stuck together, like big chunks. Sometimes they do chunk up in the containers and then they'll get stuck when they go to shake. You just want to make sure you don't get any on the edges when you take off the tape. Now I could have put powder on the edges. I think I'm okay. I think I'm okay for this one. We'll just have to wait and see. Alright, so how do I want to do this? Do I want to put it that way or that way? Is it more important that it's straight, or if it's more important that it's... Okay, so I'm just going to tip all of this out. It's going to be completely counterintuitive, but just go with me. So I'm just tipping it all out. A little bit of static with the acetate, that's alright. So I'm going to put... You guys know shaker cards make me nervous. They just do. I still haven't quite mastered them. Whenever I try something, they never quite work. So if you put powder on it, like I sort of want to make the anti-static, like the static, go away, I find that you don't get as nice a look. But if you don't put the acid, don't put the powder on, you don't get as nice a shake. So it really comes down to if you want the shake, or if you want the pop, or if you want the look. And for this one, I'm leaning towards the look. So I'm just going to put, I've just noticed a couple more of those ones sticking together, so I'm fixing those up. Trying not to lose too many of them. I have so many sequins and shaky bits and I never use them, or very rarely use them. Okay, so I'm moving them all into the middle here. Obviously when we put the thing on, we'll shake it and that'll separate them. So I'm going to take off, I'm just taking off the two, oh no, just do it all, it'll be fine. I'm just going to line that up. And hopefully, when I shake this, it's working. Yay. So the good thing about the stars is that they kind of get in between the popcorn, and so they make it so that they move around a little bit easier. There's a little bit of static happening in there, and some of them are sticking, like the stars are sticking, but generally speaking, they're moving around pretty well. Alright, so then we're going to put these on to hide the tape at the bottom. So I'm just going to use a little bit of the tape and cut it in half, because we need this to sit the same height as the shaker. So I'm going to take off the tape, take off the release paper, sorry. And then just put the foam tape at the bottom. So that'll bring it up to the same level at the bottom. And we're obviously taking off the release tape because otherwise the foam tape would be able to come off it really easily. Sit flush. And there you have it. We have our little shaker. Those stars were a good idea. Those stars were a good idea. Okay, so from there I need a, I don't know if it's a quote or if it's a something, but there needs to be something else on here to kind of denote what this is, or I don't know. What have I got here? Movie, pause for dramatic effect, live action cut tickets. Okay. I still really love this sort of popcorn thing full of flowers. Where are my quote cards? I don't want the green. Maybe. I need to do something to it. It's got to be. It can't be. I always want to tear it. That's just always my natural thing, is to tear this, and I don't know why. Tearing it just scares me, because if I mess it up, I've only got one. I can print off. I don't think they're actually ready yet, but you can print obviously the digital ones. But okay, so I'm just double checking that there's nothing else I want to put on here before I do it. I am kind of considering having the little POW thing, and then I can write movies or entertainment or whatever this decides to be there, and then it pulls in this little bit of. Okay, I'm gonna try that. I want these to be apart. I don't want them to be together. Okay, so I've gone now. I'm just gonna sort of fussy cut this. The tearing's not gonna work. So we've got the show is starting. We've got the so if I do, no, it needs to be there, and then shush. I don't know why, I just felt like that looked better cut apart. I'm just gonna have the shush there. Otherwise, I could seriously sit here for hours trying to work out exactly where I want to put everything. So let's move on. So I'm just using flat glue tape for this. I don't need any more dimension on here. So I'm just going to put the shush. The show is starting. So I've just kind of offset that just a little bit. And I'm still kind of considering putting something here. Yes. And the only other thing I'm thinking, so that's going to be where my title goes. Oh, I so love that. I'm thinking I might put a couple little stars around the outside, but I've decided not to, because number one, I think there's enough stars there anyway. Number two, I feel like it would take away from the shaker. That shaker is actually working really, really well, and I like the way the popcorn's moving. It's giving me what I wanted it to. So I'll do a zoom and a slow-mo in a sec so you guys can see. I'm going to leave the back plain, and that's where I can decide what I want to do with that later. But there we go, there's my little movie-themed shaker dashboard. I love making dashboards for my planners. They're so much fun. And they're really, you can't have too many of them. It's just an extra little page. It just bulks it out a little bit. So if you don't like bulky in your planner, perhaps this isn't the best thing, but I think it's really cool. So let me know what you think down below. You can of course find me on any of my socials as well if you want to leave comments there. If you did enjoy this one, please give a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for lots of other Planners Anonymous fun. I hope you guys have an absolutely awesome rest of your day, and I will catch you again in my next video. Sending lots of huggles. Bye!